Welcome everybody, welcome to my channel. Today I have a topic that maybe it's going to concern more parents and especially mothers like myself. I was born and raised in Tanzania, so now I've moved to Norway and I've seen that there's a lot of different things that I experienced, and it's totally different from my country, Tanzania. And one of them is the system of child welfare. So today I'm going to talk about child welfare in Norway. And this video is in collaboration with my friend, YouTuber, Jackie Brem. Okay, how can I describe her? She's very clever girl, hardworking, generous, honest and kind, and you don't want to miss having her as a YouTube family member. She has amazing content. She talks about life in Germany in general, food, most travel, and she travels to stunning places together with her beautiful family. So please take your time now, check her channel as the name Jackie Brem. Just look on the screen and subscribe to her. Don't forget to mention to her that you came from Alice or from Tanzania to Norway. Thank you. So the first thing I'm going to explain is what is child welfare. So child welfare is all kinds of things that are done to a child to ensure that they have security and they have all the things that they need as kids. It can be these kids can be in a family, or they can be maybe without family, but the government takes care of them. For example, foster care. So these systems, they differ from one country to another. In Norway, if I compare Norway and Tanzania, it's very different, of course. And but Norway and Germany, maybe it can be almost the same, but we will see. We are going to hear a lot from Jackie Brem about the child welfare in Germany. Today, when I'm talking about child welfare, I'm mostly going to talk about the parents and children and how the government gives the support to support these parents to raise their kids since they are born until they are like 18 years old. Yeah, so here in Norway, a child is considered as a child from the age of 0 to 18 years old. So in case of child support and whatever is given to a child is until until someone is 18 years old. So Norway, I can say in child welfare is doing really good, and they started from somewhere, right? If I can read from the books or internet, it shows that in the years 1950, Norway had child welfare system that's not that good. So if I can compare Tanzanian system now and Norway system in the 1950s, it's almost the same. So I can see that they had, their system was bad before, but they worked on it, and now it's very nice. Okay, I'm going to talk about the benefits of that the child gets here in Norway since the age of 0. Usually child support child support is around $120 every month. Since when the child is born until the child is 18 years old. So this support can vary from year to year as life gets more expensive each time. So the amount can increase. Yeah, so when I came to Norway, it was a bit less, but now it's much more. Okay, something else that kids get is free education. From Tanzania, where I come from, education is so expensive. Since when you start kindergarten, I mean, everywhere, like you have to pay so much. But here, you don't pay anything. It's just so little amount of fees that you need to pay for something like food, and yeah, it's nothing, right? But if you can see that, like, the schools, they have enough teachers, they teach very well, like they have books, they even have iPads, like every student have iPad, like something like that. It's very impressive. So Norwegians try to give their kids like the best education, but it's free. Health services, like in the hospitals, kids don't pay at all. So that's another thing. It's a very good thing because kids can be sick all the time. So you just call your you call the child's doctor, you bring her to the hospital, and you don't need to pay anything. Yeah. And another thing is dental care. Here in Norway, if you go to a dentist, you pay so much. It's so expensive here. So for kids, you don't pay. So that's a good thing, right? Especially kids, when they grow up, their teeth are not in a good, arranged in a good way because they grew and things like that. So they need dentist a lot, and it can cost a fortune going to a dentist for a child here in Norway. So that's a good thing that it's free. Something else I see that is very remarkable in child welfare is parental leaves. Parental leaves here in Norway, it's a very long time compared to Tanzania, where I come from. We have 3 months in Tanzania. If you give birth to a child, you get just 3 months. Yeah? So here in Norway, you get almost a year. Almost a year, and fully paid salary, and you stay home with your child until the child is 1 year old. Okay, yeah. So this is almost like 46 weeks for both, for a mother and a father. So this doesn't mean that only the mother has to stay home for the whole year. No, it's both parents. So it usually starts with the mother. The mother stays home for the first maybe 6 months, and then the father takes the rest, because at that time the child is already grow up and develop a little bit to be left with the father, right? So the father comes home and then the mother goes back to work. So it's like that. So in case of twins birth, parents also get a bit more than 1 year. So they get around 56 weeks, I think. Yeah, it's 56 weeks, yes. Okay, something else, it's the father is given like 2 weeks when the child is born. The father has to be around for 2 weeks to take care of the newborn and to take care of the wife, if to be around, In these first 2 weeks, it's when this child is the first time here in the world, so they need to bond and things like that. So, and on top of that, the husband can help the wife with with everything, cooking, and just to be there. It's very nice. So these 2 weeks are paid by the government. You don't need to work. You just be home and take care of the family. Yeah. So in these parental leaves, again, there is also a choice to choose if you want maybe a bit more days on your leave. you can choose to be paid like 80% of your salary, and then you get a bit much more days. So that one you can also do. So someone will feels much more comfortable to stay home with their child for much more time, and their salary is enough. 80% of your salary is enough to take care of your family. You just talk to your employer, and then you do 80%. You can also do 60% and get much more days. So after birth care is something that is also done here a lot, that there is very close follow-up to mothers and kids after the birth. So if you know, if you're a mother, you know what I'm talking about when I say breastfeeding is really hard. And here you get a lot of teachings on how you can give your child milk and how you can breastfeed in these first days, because it can be really hard. So you can also get discharged from the hospital and then go home, and nurses will come to your home and then check what's going on, like how is the child eating and how are you doing, and yeah, they check many things, like to make sure that the mother is doing well and the child is doing well. As I said, the parents get 1 year for one child birth, and after that it means that these parents have to go back to work, right? So the government gives access to kindergarten or the daycare that this child is going to go. So from 1 year, this kid goes to daycare. Yeah, so the daycare is very nice. They have beds, they can sleep, they have, the teachers are really good. They teach them so many things. So you can find that the kids in one and a half year, they can talk. They can eat themselves. They can be, they can be independent. So yeah, it's just a very good system. So until then, from there, they go to kindergarten until 5 years old, and from 5 years, from 6-7 years, they go to school. Yeah, and then they, like that, the government pays and free education and things like that. So yeah. So now I would like to invite Jackie Brehm. She's going to talk about the German part. Child welfare in German. Welcome, Jackie Brehm.
So, as a humanitarian and social welfare specialist in person, I think this topic is a very great one for discussion. So, I want to thank Alice for bringing this on, and also to help some aspiring mothers out there with information. So before I start with the discussion, I want to put up a disclaimer out there that we all know that laws do change most often, and by the time I am doing this video, and by the time you may have probably been seeing this video, things may have changed in the process. So this is just a clue of how child welfare is being handled here in Germany. So you shouldn't totally rely on this information, but it's just going to be a clear example of how everything goes on here. Now, when we talk about child welfare, one may ask, what is child welfare? It's basically the term often used whereby services are designed and the involvement of the state or government and its authorized professionals in assisting children and their families to ensure that children are safe and families have the necessary support to take care of their children successfully. In this video, we are going to be covering topics on maternity and paternity leaves, services the government do provide for child welfare, and also the child health and counseling they give to parents here in Germany. When you give birth whilst working here in Germany, you are legally entitled to 14 weeks of maternity leave, mostly at least 6 weeks before and 8 weeks after childbirth. You are also entitled to 80 weeks in the case of premature birth, multiple birth, or if your child is found to have any form of disability. However, this is not obviously fixed because in the case of critical situations, leaves can be adjusted or extended. Maternity pay or benefit is intended to compensate working mothers for loss of earnings and also for non-working mothers as well. These benefits are not limited. These benefits go across to all mothers, but the amount depends on which type of employment you are in or the type of insurance cover you have. And during your maternity leave, you can claim this benefit. It's called the Mutterschaftsgeld. And thereafter, both parents are entitled to parental leave until the child's first birthday, with 60% equal pay and safe return to work. You are also entitled to an extended parental leave after that until the child is 3 years. However, your job is secured, but without claim of the same position, which I think is fair because you cannot be absent at work for that period of time and you still expect your position to be in place. You would have to learn some few new things that were brought in your absence and maybe jump right back to your position. It's gonna be a process. In addition to maternity leave, there's an option for the mother or father to take parental leave for up to a maximum of 24 months, with a parental allowance sometimes between 300 to let's say 1,200 euros depending on your salary. Mostly fathers would like to take 1 year off break or some months and still get 70% of their salary whilst at home with a newborn. The parental allowance, which we call the Elterngeld, is to support parents starting with a minimum of 300 euros to 1,800 euros per month for 24 months. Also, the unemployed can claim this as well, and you have to decide with your partner who is going to be receiving that support, because as I said, it's a parent allowance and parent do include both couple, you understand? So you have to decide who should the support go to, if it can be splitted and it will go to both parents or it will just go to one parent account. But also you can choose to have the full amount, but also in the duration of that 24 months you can choose whether you want the parental allowance to be divided. Okay, let's say for instance it's 300 euros per month. Maybe they can divide it and give you half of it, which is 150 euros. They can give you half of it for a year and then half of the rest for the next year. Or if you like, you can take the whole 300 euros for the whole year and then it's finished. The health of a mother and a child is very important here in Germany, and one can decide to give birth whether in the hospital or in a birthing house by their midwives or at home. You can select your own midwife or you take the one assigned by your doctor. It is worth searching for one in advance, usually from 12 to 15 weeks of your pregnancy. And you should complete a prenatal course in the process, or 4 weeks before your due date, you should complete that course. They have types of these courses. They have courses for first-time parents and single parents, and also they have courses in English as well, and you can opt for that. And also after giving birth, you are not abandoned. Your midwife would follow up on home visits to make sure that everything is well with you and your child, to teach you certain things about breastfeeding, etc. And you'd also go for checkups with the baby as well. And the most important aspect that I love is that fathers are involved in childbearing. They are allowed into the wards whilst giving birth. And it doesn't really matter even in the situation of critical moments like premature birth. The father is still present, and it just makes the father have some sort of connection with the child and also experience how the child was brought into the world and experience how childbirth is. Now, once the child is being born, there's also some benefits the government do provide called the Kindergeld, the child allowance or the child support. From 1st July 2019, the amount was changed. As I said, laws can change anytime. It was changed, and the amount is 204 euros for a child, for the first child. And the second child receives 210 euros. The third child and any additional child to come will receive 235 euros per month until the child turns 24 years. But however, when the child is 18 years, you have to prove that the child is still in school or maybe is training for a job so that the payment can still go on. But when the child turns 25 years, there's no longer going to be any payment again. In the case of unwanted pregnancies or termination of pregnancy, counseling is given free of charge at a state-recognized counseling center, such as the Sexual Counseling and the Advice Service Unit. The decision to have an abortion lies entirely with the pregnant woman, or if the child is under 18 years, the consent of a guardian is needed. Yes, abortion is accepted in this part of the world, and in the case where the mom has no income or medical insurance, the state would help to cover all of the costs.
So I would like to take this opportunity to thank Jackie Brain for taking her time to do this collaboration with me. I'm reminding you again, if you haven't done it, subscribe to our channel. Go now and subscribe and tell her you come from Alice or from Tanzania to Norway. So I also want to take this opportunity to give a big shout out to my friend Haika, or her channel's name is African Bella, The Real Talk. She's strong, kind, generous, and a kind of person who helped me a lot through my YouTube journey. She encouraged me so much to keep pushing, and now I'm here. Thank you so much. Please go and support her channel. Her channel's name is African Bella, The Real Talk. She talks about relationship and beauty and travel and food. She has very good things. Please go check her, and as usual, tell her that you come from Alice. Thank you so much for your time.